Okay, so I'm going to begin a new project to draw up the model of Mudgee Library that you can see here. And so if you're working at the college, you can get to the resources on the V drive, and then there's a CAD4 folder where you'll see all of these photos and, of course, the PDF file. You see there called Mudgee Library Plans and Elevation. Open that, and then I'm going to go to the File menu, Export to, Image, and then JPEG. Nothing special. And oh yeah, so I'm just going to say yes to this option here, and then leave it on all pages and click OK. So now it's gone through, it's exporting each page individually. So it should make a file for each page, which is exactly what we want. So you can see there it's just going through down the bottom right. So that should go through fairly quickly. There we go. Okay, so just go there with the default option again, and you can see there, was it made folder? Oh, someone's made that for me. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to click Save, and click Save here. There we go. For some reason, sometimes you have to do that. And then now you can see we've got the 5 extra files there, so you can of course use these, but if you need to export it on your own computer, you need Acrobat Pro to do that. As far as I know, Reader won't do it. And so you can see there, we can obviously open these JPEGs up and just check them. So it's the second file there that I'm going to start with, and that should be the ground floor plan. So now in Revit, I'm going to make a new file using the architectural template, as usual. And then, as you're probably used to with me, I'm going to duplicate the ground floor view before I do anything else. Just by right-clicking there, I'm going to go to Duplicate View, and then Duplicate. And then I'll right-click on that new ground floor copy 1, and rename it and call it ground floor image. It's just for you to know, so you can really call that whatever you like, as long as it tells you that there's... either works. Yeah. So then if I go to the Insert tab, I'm going to click Image and browse to the folder on the V drive. And select Mudgee Library and Plans Elevation, page 2. Double click. And then I'm just going to click roughly in the centre, not being too fussy about this, just to place it.
Where did you put it?
So on the V drive. Yep. Student Share PC. So there, yep. You can just browse. And then CAD4. So then you'll see, zooming in, you'll find the scale bar down the bottom left corner. Just seeing if there are other dimensions that could be useful, but oh yeah, there are a few, so that's good. So you can see here there's a measurement, which I'll use to check things in a moment, and can't see too many others. Oh yeah, there's another one there. So you always want to look out for these figured dimensions, in other words, written measurements. And that's obviously a really useful thing to have to check the dimensions. So, again, I'm going to start with this scale bar though. So I'm going to select the image now. And then, so it's page 2 if you want to. So then I'm going to click the scale tool. And zoom right into this scale bar. I'm going to click on the left-hand corner of that scale bar, and then I'll take it across to the right and click just to the end of that 1 metre measurement. And you can see already it's too big. It's 3.2 metres, or 3.3 metres, 3,300. So now I'm simply going to type in what it should be. 1,000. Enter. And now that should be the right size. It's that easy.
So you went to the...
Oh, it's scale. So select the image first. Yep. And then you'll see. Yep. Then you'll see the scale button in the modify panel. So it's next to array. So, like I said, I'm going to go and check that it's worked by measuring some of these other bigger dimensions. Okay, so you can see there 2086. Close it. Over here. Okay, that one's a bit further off. So 1100 is actually 11100 is actually out here, but when I measure it, it's not quite right. This is why you want to check. So here, I'll just check this one now. So measuring across that dimension, it is 24. Well, if I move it down a bit, 2440 or 2446. That's close enough. So the vertical dimensions are pretty good. The horizontal dimensions seem to be a little bit off, and that's quite normal with drawings like this because this is obviously hand drawn. So it shows you how, I mean, people when they did hand drawing were actually more fussy and spent more time trying to make things accurate than you would working with computer programs. But even with all of that attention to detail, trying to make things accurate, hand drawing was never as accurate as computers can be. So you've got to expect that and often just work around it. So we know that some of the dimensions are right, others might be off a little bit. And so in that situation, if you see a written dimension, you should always use that in preference to what's drawn. But here, it's kind of good in a way that we don't have too many written dimensions because then you can just trace the image that you've been given. So I'm happy with the size. And so when you first go to use that scale tool in Revit, I know it takes a bit of practice, but spend some time getting that scaled to be the right size. And again, check the measurements to make sure that... Yep. Yep. So... So you click on the first point. Maybe I'll do it again. Okay, so I'll just... So I'll start from the beginning. So here with it selected, I'll click the scale button. And then zoom in on my scale. I'm going to click on the left-hand corner first. And you can see then it's giving me a measurement. And if I come over to the right and click on that 1 metre dimension, and then you can see there it tells me it's 3300, and I can type 1000, press enter, and it will scale it down to that size.
So you click at the end?
Yeah, click the second point and then type. So click, 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 and then type. Oh no, you must have clicked twice. So just click the base point, then click the second point, then type.
So select the image again. Then press the scale button. You write 1000, right?
Yep, that's it, and then enter. And you should see it get smaller. So you just need to be conscious how many times you're clicking. Yep, that's it. So click yes, scale, and then click on the... Have you got the image selected first? Make sure the image is selected. The image has to be selected first. Before you click the scale button, select the image first. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Click on
Now
it.
type 1,000. That's it. Enter. There we are.
Okay.
So then also make sure after you've scaled it that you drag it back to the centre. So here, notice how
Oh, yeah.
I can simply drag it, and I'm looking for the elevation views there to centre it. So you should be able to get the building to fit inside the elevation views.
Well, it's just a little bit outside.
Yeah, well, not the image, just the building. So notice how here that the boundary of the or the edge of the building there, the boundary probably goes further back, but the edge of the building there, you can see can easily sit inside that elevation, and then the one over here, the top and the bottom, should be fine as well. So that's probably a good place for it. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to select it now, and then pin it using the pin tool in the modify panel there. So at the top there, you've got pin. When it's selected, you can see the pin icon then will come out. So next I'm going to, now that's assuming the same orientation as they have. Now, has anyone thought about having a different orientation for their plans? So some of the other drawings I found actually had the entry on the right.
Yes.
So that could be an option. I think this probably is good, having the entry on the left. Probably will work, but that's something with Revit you should think about at the beginning. It just makes your life easier. If you don't, changing it later is harder. So think about that. If you're happy with this orientation though, then you can leave it. And then, now, yeah.
Orientation in the sense of if we want it that way, or 360.
Exactly. So now I'm going to go back to the architecture tab and draw some reference planes. So just using the normal reference plane tool there, I'm going to try to trace the edge of the building. So just the outer walls. Don't do all the others later. So here, again, it will never be perfect because this is hand drawn and it's not straight. So we can work with that. It's fine. So here you can see it follows the wall at the bottom there, but by the time it gets to the top, it's not quite straight. Again, that's hand drawing for you. Probably the whole thing is rotated a little bit as well, but again, we can work with that. So now I'm going to get another reference plane going. Again, try to follow the main line of that wall. So I'm ignoring the little projection there. So here's my reference plane going past that projection, but again, following the main edge of the wall at the bottom. And the same at the top. We've got, well, the stairwell and the extension there obviously comes up above, but I'm just going to again look at that, the main wall there that's down below. So you'll see why in a moment when we look at the next story. I think that's enough for now. So if it isn't clear where my reference planes are, I can go back to the ground floor original view and just see the reference planes there. That's really the point of it. So next I'm going to go to level 1 and duplicate that. Then I'll have a look at the drawings again, and we can see the... Oh, we've actually got mezzanines here, don't we? That's
Yes,
right.
we do.
Yeah. So we'll come back, we'll do the mezzanines after. So I'll just skip to the first floor, and then we'll come back and add the mezzanines. Yeah. So this is good for you to see, because with... yeah.
And the other parts too. It's a bit confusing.
Yeah, it is. So...
But it's the new part that it has the mezzanine, so we may change it at the end.
Yep, sure.
And the stairs.
But that's libraries for you. Libraries often have this complicated arrangement. So again here, I'm just going to treat this as the next main level. Well, actually, I suppose they've got it as... I was going to say we could skip the mezzanine, but now, thinking a bit more.
You want
They've called it mezzanine, but really it is the first floor. In the old building, that would have been the first floor. And then the next level
that's right,
is the
the
second.
difference is just a meter.
Yeah, well, you can see in here, see how they...
Because at the back, the lower section of the has been dropped.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
The mezzanine is.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking back to front. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll see. Yeah.
So
yeah.
the mezzanine isn't actually level 1. It's
Yeah.
a lot lower.
It's in
than
between,
that,
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the
sure.
top level of the new section actually lines up
Yeah.
with
With
the
the second.
first
Yeah.
floor.
Yep. So you're right. Yeah, I was looking back to front. So yeah, I was looking again, thinking of
Because they
the
had really high
rotated.
ceilings in the original building, and then they've got standard size
Yeah.
heights
Yeah.
and a drop floor in
Yep.
the new building.
Yep, sure. So yeah, so I thought I got the
So
yeah.
it dropped like
Direction.
a meter? No,
Uh,
17 centimeters.
It was like 80 centimetres
Yeah.
dropped down.
Yep. So that's good. So we can have this. So this is a proper mezzanine. So we'll put the upper level in next. So here you've got the upper level plan, which is page 4. So again, now in my copy, I'll rename that as again level. This will be level 1 image, and then again insert image exactly the same way, and page 4. Click to place it somewhere, and then again use exactly the same method to scale it, except, of course, they haven't given us a scale bar. That's nice of them.
Can we use a scale from another page to...
Not really, but there are a couple of tricks. So,
Can we use the walls?
oh yeah, that's right. We've got the dimensions there.
Well,
Does it-
I was going to say, we've already got the red lines from the wall.
Well, that's right. We'll use that to double check. Exactly. Yep, that's right. So, but yeah. So the first step, though, we've got these written measurements, and that's the next thing to look for. If you don't find a scale bar, you can use those. So here again, with the image selected, click the scale button, click on one side of your dimension, go across to the next line, and then type in what it should be, which is 2300, obviously. Enter, and then now I'll drag it to see if it lines up with my reference planes. I'm using the arrow keys there just to nudge it a little bit, and you can see there it's actually a little bit off. So I think it's probably more important to have it line up than to have these dimensions be right. So now I'll use scale again, and there's nothing to stop you doing that. So I'll just move it down a little bit so that that wall lines up with my reference plane. Then I'll click the scale button, start on the intersection of the reference planes there, come up to the edge of the wall from the drawing, and then instead of typing in a measurement, this time I can bring it up to the reference plane and snap to that. So there you can see now the two walls should line up with my reference planes from the level below.
Sorry, what did you do?
So, oh yeah, I'll just do it.
Okay, so can you do that again?
Yep, sure. So I'll just undo it. So the first step was to scale it roughly using the measurement that you type in. That helps a lot. And then when it's close, then you can position it so that the wall at the bottom lines up with your reference plane. That's really important. Then click the scale button, and you can start on the edge of that wall on the reference plane, and then give the second point on the edge of the wall from the drawing, that is. So there you can see it's lining up with that pencil line. And then coming up now, I just click on the reference plane and we'll stretch it to fit that. So the front lines up pretty well as well. Again, it's sloping away at an angle just like the previous level, so we know that and can again work around it. So I'm happy with that position, and so again I'm going to pin it so it stays in place.
Sorry, where's the... Oh, pin is just the pin button.
Exactly. That's it.
You can smaller than like with the pin board. After that, try.
So to see that things are coordinated now across those different views, I'm going to go back to the ground floor with image and draw in another reference plane for one of the back walls. So again, just tracing that edge there. Can bring that up so that it's in line with that wall. And now if I look in my level 1 image, I can see pretty good. It's lining up really well actually with that joint. That's as good as you'd ever get it. So that's perfect. So that's really important when you import references for different levels. You need to make sure they line up in 3D so that when you draw walls, of course, on the different levels, they'll line up as well. And so I'll just do one more level and I'll give you some more time to work on this. So the next thing would be maybe to think a bit more about the levels. And I'm going to go to the south elevation to look at that. So in the south elevation now, notice how I can see the reference planes that I've been drawing. So that's another reason it helps to draw the reference planes. And I'm going to extend the levels just using the grips there. If I select one of the levels, I can just stretch with the grips so they come out on either side. Has anyone worked out the heights for those levels?
We can't.
You've got some dimensions here, which are pretty good, I think. So I think that's enough if you've got those.
We went.
If you've measured them, though, you could use any measurements you've got. But I think these will be okay to start with. So we've got 3075, 3075, and 2700. Or we'll just go with that. So, right, so now I've got level 1 at 4000, and 3075 times 2 is 6150. So I'll change level 1 to that. And then I'll make a new level in between. So if you missed that, I'm just using the level tool here to make a new level.
For the mezzanine.
Exactly. So this will be 3075. And I'll change the name while I'm at it to mezzanine. Of course, yes, always to rename corresponding views, and it's pretty good. The way, it's almost like someone planned this. Those level names, if you use this way of naming your levels, and I always do, they go alphabetically in order of height. So basement is a good name for levels below ground, because B comes before G, obviously. So then, again, mezzanine should go before... Oh, what am I saying? L comes before M. What am I saying? So, yeah, this is no good. So I was thinking of upside down. Okay. So, well, you can live with that if you want to, but it's pretty annoying when you have the level names not in order. So I wouldn't normally have mezzanine, but level 1 and 2 would be the next levels normally. So if you want, again, the numbers, also the levels to go in order, you can put a number in. So they're 01. Do you have a basement? Is there a basement level?
I don't think if there is
Country buildings, usually they're pretty good like that, so yeah. Okay, so we'll assume there's no basement. So 01, ground floor. I'm going to stick 01 obviously in front of the ground floor level name, and it'll say yes to rename corresponding views, but notice... Yeah.
But we enter the ground floor, and then at the back it drops down.
Oh, okay.
Why we are putting ground floor as the first one, and
well, here though, you can see that's going to be ground floor. There's a little change there. So, yeah, right, okay. So we can maybe, if we need to, have another level there. We can have 00. And we'll call it basement or something, or lower ground or something.
Yeah, because the back of the ground of the new part.
Yeah, it does step down on it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's fine. So we can always put 00 in front front, and that'll put it first. So now though, what's interesting there is that if you change the level names, it'll update this floor plan, but this one hasn't changed. So I always just try to go through and rename these as I go to keep it all tied together. So I'm going to put 01 there in front of this, and then we want the level 1 levels to be third, so that's 03. And then again, yes, when it asks you. And again, this one I'll put 03 in front as well, so it stays grouped in the project browser. And then mezzanine is 02. So now I'm going to duplicate the mezzanine level, and we'll call that 02 mezzanine image again, and just repeat the process from before. So again, insert image, and this one will be page 3. Click to place it, find a dimension if you can, and use that to scale things first.
Why mine doesn't work when I click the second time?
You need to have the image selected first.
Yes, I do that, and it still doesn't do it.
Oh, I'll have a look, but yeah, that should work. So again, here I'm just going to position this roughly. I'll stop recording in a second, but so you get the basic idea. So now you can see when I go to line this up, because it's the plan's mainly at the back of the building, these reference planes at the moment don't extend that way, so I'm going to just extend these out as I go. And well, the walls actually there only relate at the bottom anyway, but over here now I can drag this, and it's really this line that needs to line up with the reference plane. That one is pretty good as well. The back though is a bit off, so you can see this one maybe, I think the scaling could be a problem there. So looking at this, well, so they've got a wall there. I don't know what's happened there.
Line up with that one.
Yeah, so I might have spent a bit of time looking at that one. The front's okay, the front looks alright, so there's got to be some problem with the way this is drawn, or it changes a bit on the next level again. I'm not sure, but you can see here that reference plane lines up with the back wall, and that's come from the ground floor as well, so those two are lining up. It's just now the mezzanine in between isn't, for some reason. So I might have a look at that. But again, this is something that you might find quite commonly with hand drawings, because again, they didn't work the way we do. They didn't coordinate things in 3D, and even though, yeah, it does stick out, yeah. But see, that
is only
on the upper level, yeah. So, let's have a look at that. Okay, so the main wall, I mean the part that sticks out, I saw that comes out here, and then this is the main wall still. Right,
yes,
so that should be the main wall that's in line with this wall.
With the ground floor.
Yeah. So I'd say what we can assume then is that this front part might be wrong.
Yeah.
So instead, maybe we only really need this part from this drawing anyway, so I'll bring that across to line up at the back. This here lines up with this wall at least, and there, well, we don't know. But at least now the back lines up. So maybe that's something you just have to accept, that it won't line up here at the front. But again, there's a good chance that when they were drawing this, they weren't really that worried about this part of this drawing. With hand drawing, that's the way it is. You just draw the things that aren't important very roughly. So again, I'll be happy with that position for now, so I'm going to pin it. And then before drawing any physical objects, any walls or anything, I would still go back and do a bit more with the levels. So I've got the 3 main floor levels, but then the final thing would be to have a roof level. You'll need more levels later, but to get started, you definitely need at least to have a roof level. So I'm going to add in one more and make it 04 roof. And the height there we'll take from the pitching point of the ceiling, essentially, which is going to be tied to the roof. So 2,700 is the height. So I'll just give you one really good tip there before I finish. The levels obviously are taken from this ground floor level 0, so it's 9550. But I want it to be 2,700 from the level below. So how do you work that out? You can add them all up and work it out by doing the maths, but if you go and find the dimension, it saves you having to do that. So I can type 2,700 in there, and then now it gives me the value 8850 without me having to add it up. And then now I can extend these reference planes. Actually, before I do, I'll just show you the the roof floor plan now. I can't see the reference planes. So, in the elevation, starting in the south elevation, I'm going to extend the reference plane so they cross now over my roof level. So I'll go back to my roof floor plan and I can see those two reference planes. So I'll do the same in the east elevation. So you can see there these two reference planes don't cross through all of the levels, but I'll extend them through the roof level now as well. And then back in my roof floor plan, now I can see those reference planes as well. Okay, so I'll give you some time to work on that. Once you've got that set up, it's really easy to add in the walls, floors, roofs. Probably use a starting point and then maybe have a look at ceilings. Give you some time to work on that.